Hello. I have some big books that I want to read in the immediate future. Now that I've got some book prize reading done, and you can see some of that project stacked up over there on my piano, but I would classify any book over 500 pages as a big book. It's quite intimidating. I know it's going to be very time consuming. And one of the ways that I motivate myself to actually read really long books like this is to make videos such as this, because then I'm kind of locked into reading it, and I will hopefully get encouragement from other readers watching this who will want to discuss it or who might have read some of these books in the past and want to encourage me, or maybe even join along with me in reading some of these books, because the first two I want to talk about are immediate book club choices for my online book club, which I'll put a link to below. But our May choice is Her Side of the Story by Alba de Cespedes. We've just started reading this. This novel follows a woman who grows up in Rome in the 1930s under quite strict circumstances. She has expectations placed upon her of which direction her life will go on, and we follow her journey as she forges her own path. And Alba de Cespedes, her novel Forbidden Notebook, which was published in English for the first time last year, was one of my favorite books that I read. And so I'm so glad to be reading more of her fiction. I've just started this, and already it is so good. So I'm really looking forward to discussing it with everybody on my online book club. And one of the wonderful things about being part of an online book club is it's another great encouragement to read some of these big books, which if I was just reading it on my own might take my time more with, or might put it off for another day. But knowing that everybody else is reading it at the same time and we discuss it as we go along, so to have that kind of chat and getting feedback about the book and kind of reassurance if it's not as enjoyable as I was hoping it would be, or encouraging each other to read on because we are finding it so compelling, is a wonderful way of getting to read some of these longer books. But this, I think, is absolute quality. And so I'm sure we're going to have so many great discussions about it this month. So if you want to join in along with that, again, click below and you can find out more about my book club. Now, for our July choice, we are going to be reading Caledonian Road by Andrew O'Hagan, his new novel, which just came out here in the UK recently, but it's actually not being published in the States until mid-June, which is why it's our July book club choice. I was going to make it our May book club choice, but to be able to give people more access to it, I thought I would wait till July to actually read and discuss this book together. So again, if you want to join along in our reading of this in July, please do so. And this novel is set in contemporary London in 2021, following a man who is an art historian and celebrity pundit as he moves amongst the upper class of London society in this rarefied neighborhood of London. And we follow him and a student over the course of the year, and how they navigate this ever-changing society, especially in present-day London. And I have heard such good things about this novel of people who have read it already and encouraged me and said, Eric, you're going to love this book. And so I'm so eager to get to reading this and discussing this book, especially together as a book club. Now, another new novel that I really am excited to read, and I just got a finished copy of it, which is absolutely beautiful, is The Lost Love Songs of Boysie, Singh by Ingrid Persaud. And this novel is set in Trinidad. It follows 4 different women who are all very different from each other, but who are all connected through this gangster figure of Boysie, Singh, and we follow their different narratives and their different stories and how they intersect with each other. And yeah, I think it sounds so good, and I feel a flush of pride and excitement as I see scrawled across the bottom of this novel, winner of the Costa First Novel Award, because I loved Persaud's novel Love After Love, and I was a judge on that year of the Costa Book Awards for the first novel category. That was in 2020, and yeah, her novel Love After Love, which is also quite long, is so beautiful, so heartbreaking, and it just completely gripped me and the other judges. We were absolutely unanimous in this being our winner that year. So that was a wonderful experience. Now, another novel, which was published a year or two ago, which I've been meaning to get to, but which just recently I saw was on sale on Audible. So I bought the audio version of it, but also there was this, the physical version at my local library. And so I took out this because another strategy I have for reading really long books is to have them both in audiobook form and physical book form. So when I'm here at home, I can read the physical form, and when I'm out and about, I can listen to it on audio. And so then having the ability to constantly have this book on the go, no matter where I am. But also I find it gives a really interesting dynamic reading experience to be listening to a book part of the time and then the other part of the time reading the physical copy of it, because sometimes there can be things in the text or the way the text is structured that can add to the story. And then of course in audio form, the way that that book is narrated and performed can add to the experience of it as well. So yeah, I really like combining those things. And this is another book that I've heard such good things about. It spans across a wide hundreds of years, from Constantinople in the 1400s and the personal and political strife going on at that time, and then moving towards the present day. But these stories and these different people are connected by an ancient text, and this is a novel which is also dedicated to librarians, which of course love. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this in all of its forms very soon. And also in a physical book club I belonged to recently, one of the members mentioned that he was reading Dostoevsky and how much he was enjoying the experience of it. And that reminded me of how when I was younger and I read a number of Dostoevsky's books for the first time, what a pleasure he is to read, because he can write plot and characters in such a compelling way, but also has so much deep thought behind all of his writing. And when I was reading his books when I was younger, I'm sure there were lots of things about them that kind of went over my head. So I really want to revisit his work. And I had this beautiful Everyman's Library edition of the Brothers Karamazov. And so I find it really helps me to read big books like this, having special editions like this that comes with an introduction to explain about the context of this novel. This was, I think, his final completed novel that Dostoevsky wrote before he died, but which also gives notes about the text, and so a better understanding of it. And the text is quite small, and this is another book that I also have on audiobook form. So again, when I'm at home, I'll be reading this physical version, and then when I'm out and about, I can be listening to the audio, and so hopefully completing it in that way, because this is almost 800 pages long, so it really is quite a chunkster. But those are some big books that I'm hoping to read soon. Let me know if you have read any of these books, what you think about them, or if you want to join me and my book club in reading any of these books, or do you have any really big books that you are planning to read in the immediate future? I would love to hear about that in the comments below, but I hope you're doing well and reading good things, not being too intimidated by the big books out there to get to, and I will speak to you again soon. Bye-bye.